Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am getting ready to work on my fourth and final May project for Tres Jolie. I have a little bit of the mixed media kit here. I have a little bit of the cards, tags, and more kit. And then I just have the rest of those flowers from the 49 and Market flower pack from the scrapbooking kit that I didn't use up on my layout last week. It took me kind of a little bit to think up what I really wanted to do. I wanted to use the tags from the kit. I didn't want to necessarily make something thick or bulky, but I also wanted a little bit of layering. So I cut down the 2 off-white sheets of colored cardstock from the Cards, Tags, and More kit. I started thinking about how to make pockets out of them just to create some layering, a little bit of a layered effect. So this is what I did finally come up with. I do kind of make a little bit like a library card pocket, just a little bit wider than my tags. I have an inside pocket so that I can create the layered look with the tags so they're not all in at the same height, so there's a little bit of the tags poking up. And then because I wanted 3 instead of 2, it'd be just as easy just to stop at 2 tags, just using what's here. But I do have a pack of tags from a previous Tres Jolie kit, so I decided just to add in a 3rd layer. So here is more or less how it will look once everything's, trimmed down to size. Just something simple. I'm going to keep things very flat. I'm not going to put bulk on my tags. You can use it for just a simple, sort of like a card. If you just wanted like 3 pull-out things, maybe a little bit of kind of a card. Pre-make these if you want to add them to junk journals or journaling. And these are the measurements for each of my 3 pockets. Nothing overly complicated. I just start layering them in, adding, just using some glue stick. I start with my smallest pocket at the back and then put my middle pocket in, and I just use that little cut off piece of paper just to make sure that I don't accidentally glue a pocket closed, so that when I use the glue stick I can get it all the way to the edge. And then when I use the bone folder, if there's any glue that comes out, it will just come out on that little scrap cut off. Now I had originally just put 1 score line in on those folds, but I decided to add an 1/8 of an inch, just sort of so I could round those folds a little bit, just for a hair more room, since there are going to be 3 tags in there. So it wouldn't be completely flat, and more difficult to get tags in and out. They do fit tight in here. If I was going to add more than 3 pockets, I would definitely have to add a bit more space on the edges. And this is what I did. I grabbed up some extra tags just to shove in to make space. The tags are a little bit thicker than the paper, than the Bo Bunny paper. So it does work so that I can fold my edges over and make sure that it's not going to be overly tight. And that was it for that base construction. Then it was just a matter of picking out what papers and stickers I wanted to use just for decorating everything. Now I probably should have done this before I folded everything up, but I got ahead of myself a little bit. I had thought of it and then I forgot, and so now here I am. I just used some scrap pieces of that solid cardstock, used some double-sided tape, and just trimmed everything down to the width of that double-sided tape so that I could slide it onto the inside edges there, just to reinforce them and to make sure that where the 2 sides of the pockets had been glued together so that they would stay together. And then since the edges are just a single layer of that cardstock, I just cut some 1-inch wide strips to the height of my pocket, added my double-sided tape, and then just eyeballed them in place. They do get covered on the front and the back of the pocket, so being even wasn't necessarily the most important thing. I just wanted to reinforce those edges where there would be the sliding would be happening when tags were taken out and put back in. And then I just cut down the papers that I wanted to use to do the decorating, added double-sided tape around the edges so that I would have a good seal on my edges. And then on this blue plaid one, I did just make a little fold over. I think it's a 1/2 inch or so, just to tuck in to the front edge of that pocket, just to reinforce the pocket front. You know, whatever works for you. I just liked the idea of having that bit of plaid paper wrapping all the way around the front, a little bit around the bottom, and onto the back of the pocket. I didn't want this little section of the ledger print paper to be even. I kind of wanted it to make it look like it was added on purely for note taking. So I carefully tore just enough to go over the straight edge of that blue plaid paper that wrapped around the bottom of the back. I add my little fold over flap to go over the top edge of the pocket on the back, slide it into place, and then push everything down. If there was any overhang, and I only had a little bit of overhang from the pattern papers on the pocket, and I just carefully used my little craft knife there just to trim it up a little. With my pocket construction done and the pocket base papers on, it came time to add some decoration to my tags. And the decoration on my tags is just using scraps of paper. And then I laid my papers, the rest of my plaid paper, the blue background butterfly paper, and laid the straight edges together, and then just started adding some of those transformies that I had left from the mixed media kit. And then I also added a few of those transformies to the front side of my pocket. Started laying my tags out on the pieces I had and cutting them down to size and then gluing everything on. I didn't necessarily want to cover both sides with paper just because of the bulk, but I also didn't want to leave it in the manila color. I used some of the the Warren Jean chalk ink and watered it down, and that was just to add some color to the back sides. The tags, the backs of the tags now can be written on, or pictures could be added. I just decorated with the ink without adding the extra thickness. They were still damp, but I wanted them to dry a little bit flatter. So I stuck them in a towel to help absorb the moisture and then just weighed them down. I used my hot glue gun. I clustered my my little flower buds together and started decorating the front of my pocket. Gathered up more of the bulkier items, just to start trying to work with it. I used that chalk ink just here on that corner because the paper had got a little too wet and kind of peeled up, so I just used it to add some shading in there. Played around with the wicker hearts, trying to decide which ones I wanted to use and how I wanted to layer them up. Come back in using some of the butterfly stickers. Since I was going to have the wings folded up, I just put the glue stick on the back to cover up the sticky side of the sticker. And this just sort of happened on accident. I wasn't originally planning on using them in the full circle. I was just trying to see how I liked how the Kaisercraft little pearls looked on there. And then when I laid them in place, I realized I liked the little half circles that had been left. So I very carefully tried to add my glue where I wanted it and keep the spacing similar to how they were on the sheet, and just added the 3 different areas of half circle pearls. I just punched through the pattern paper at the top. It wasn't really necessary because of what I was going to be doing. I just wanted to be able to drop the hot glue all the way through the hole. I've picked out some of the flower stickers from the sticker sheet, added them in, trimmed off anything that was over the edges, added the little label stickers that I had left, and those I did just wrap around just for a little bit extra on the backs of those. I had thought about adding 1 leaf to each one from the chipboard, but as I played around with it, I decided I didn't really like it. I couldn't get it to look right, so I just pushed those off to the side in the end. And I laid my tags out on just a little non-stick mat I have, so that I could drop that hot glue in and push down the little bling that from that Prima trim that was in the Cards, Tags, and More kit. I had just cut off 6 of the little blings to put on the front and the back. There's 2 on each card, 1 on the front, 1 on the back. They stick up, so the bulk wasn't really an issue there. And that was it. Really very quick project to do. It's a thin project. You could use it kind of as a card in and of itself. Have little words of encouragement on each tag. Maybe put some pictures on them. Something that wasn't, overly bulky. You could make up a pocket like this if you make junk journals or albums to add into your covers. Really a lot of different possibilities for this. You put it on the cover, in the cover, depending on how much decoration or how much space you have. I hope that you enjoyed this tag pocket project, and it gave you some ideas of what you can do with this month's Cards, Tags, and More kit. A little bit in there from the mixed media kit. Well, the transformees from the mixed media kit. any smaller flowers you might have left over from previous projects. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you haven't already. Give us a thumbs up and feel free to share this video. Thank you, and I will see you again in June.